Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. If you find this resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and let us know how it resonates with your circumstance. So, at this time, we're going to be doing part 4 of the decoding of the book of Revelations. So, we're going to be starting at Revelations chapter 7, verse 1. I'm reading from the King James 1611 version. So let's jump right in and see what comes out in this particular reading here. So a little caption up here just kind of gives you what this chapter is about. So it says, an angel sealeth the servants of God in their foreheads. The number of them that were sealed, the tribes of Israel, a certain number, of all other nations, an innumerable multitude, which stand before the throne, clad in white robes and palms in their hands. The robes were washed in the blood of the Lamb. Okay. So they're saying that this is going to be about a specific number of people in each tribe being sealed, as well as an innumerable number of other nations. So you can't even gauge or count how many, right? Let's see what this is all about. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. So we saw before that angels represents messengers, right? We also saw that these angels would be a depiction of particular leaders, okay, of different religious and political organizations. So these are like the mouthpiece, the messenger. But let's just see. So angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on the trees. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. So another angel ascending from the east. And he cried out loud, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So the 4 angels are holding the wind, and they're saying that they're given a command to hurt the earth and the sea. How do you hurt the earth or hurt the sea? So let's just see what this means here. So there's this other angel that's crying out loud, like, hey, hold on, stop. And this angel is talking to the other 4 that are on the 4 corners of the earth, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. So the wording is very important, right? I pay attention to details. So these angels are saying, this particular angel is telling the other 4, don't hurt the earth until we seal the servants of our God. So why is it putting emphasis on our God rather than God if this biblical text is speaking directly on the Most High? Because as you know, before in the previous messages, it's been revealed that God, the original meaning of God, would represent a deity. It can be any type of deity, or even a person who coins themselves as a god, right? Or a position of power and authority, a person with a position of power and authority. So this angel, this messenger, is telling the other messengers that have some sort of power on the 4 corners of the earth, don't hurt, don't cause any destruction until we have sealed the servants of our God. So sealed can also deal with like a binding, like a stamp of ownership, right? Or a branding. You know how you brand an animal to seal it, to show that it belongs to you. It's that type of sealing. Not saying that this is the type of seal that they're referencing here, but that seal is defined in that way as well, right? So they're saying they want to seal the servants of their God. So a seal, the definition is a design, an emblem, or a mark used to authenticate or used to authenticate a document or item, often signifying authority, ownership, or authenticity. So the seal that they want to place is going to signify ownership, authenticity. It's also defined as a means of closure. Okay, so that's okay. The symbolic, the spiritual or symbolic meaning is saying that it is to represent a mark of divine ownership. So there it is again. So ownership seems to be the definition that stands out, like the dominant definition. Okay. Um, so let's see what they're talking about. Okay. Because this could most definitely be a angel, which is supposed to represent like the leader of political parties and, religious organizations, that says, hold on, before you create destruction in these different areas of the world, we have to place the seal of ownership on the servants of our God. So those who are willing, I don't know. I don't know that everybody would be willing though, but let's just see. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribes of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben, sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad, 12,000. Ishar, 12,000. Nephilim, 12,000. Manasseh, 12,000. Simon, 12,000. Levi, 12,000. Issachar, 12,000. And the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Okay. Tribe of Benjamin, 12,000. So pretty much all 12 tribes sealed with 12,000 per tribe, which would come together 12 times 12 to equal 144,000, sealed with this symbol of ownership. So after this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude. I was just told to look up something. Hold on one second. So just to, because I was told to look a little bit further into seal, and it keeps going back to authenticating like a document, an official document, or it is a mark of ownership. So this could either be giving particular individuals documents to say that they are, a part of a particular landmass or organization, or it could actually indicate a seal to represent literal ownership. Okay. So let's keep going here. So we went over the 12 tribes. Okay. And so after this, I beheld, so I'm on chapter 7, verse 9. After this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude with which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne. So nobody can number it. So in other words, it's so many that you can't count. Now, 144,000, I suppose, is already not the easiest to count, but this is saying innumerable. So well over 144,000 for sure. I mean, of all kindreds, tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes and palms in their hands. Now, apparently these palms are like leaves that's supposed to represent eternal life. Okay. So all of these people in white in white robes, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our God. So there we go with that "our" again, which sitteth upon the throne and unto the Lamb. So they're putting a clear distinction between the God and the Lamb, which all throughout the biblical text, the Lamb is supposed to be representation of Jesus, right? The Lamb is the one who's been wounded. So the wounded one. Um, So they're saying that they are before the throne, clothed in white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our God, which sits upon the throne. Okay. And all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the four beasts. Now remember, there was supposed to be 24 elders and four beasts. The four beasts, it turns out that they represent the four fixed zodiac signs. So one beast had the head of a man, the other beast had the head of a lion. So the head of a man is Aquarius, the head of a lion is Leo, the other had the head of a bull, which is Taurus, and then the other had the head of an eagle, which is Scorpio. So all of the fixed signs is what the four angels that was around the throne represents. Now, so, and all the elders and the four beasts fell before the throne on their faces and worshiped God, saying, amen, blessings and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our God forever and ever. And one of the elders answered unto me, what are these which are strayed, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? So one of the 24 elders asked, I guess, John. John is the one who was supposed to have written this particular text, Revelations. So the elder who sat on one of the thrones, remember these elders had crowns on their heads, so it's supposed to represent some form of authority, asked John, who are these people that's here in all of these white robes? And it's interesting, like, well, why is he asking John when John is supposed to just be a spectator? But this is all happening. Remember the initial point of this, when John was supposed to have started writing these depictions down, or his what he was seeing. John is still in Patmos, right? This is where he's writing all of these things down at. He's still in Patmos, which is in Turkey, right outside of Turkey. And one of the elders, that now the way the Revelations is, the way that it's being described here in Revelations is supposed to seem as if John was taken to what they call heaven, where the 24 elders would have already been there. Technically, if you're in heaven, which is supposed to be this other realm, you're supposed to be able to look down to earth and know exactly what's going on. But this elder is asking John, who is in Patmos, what these people in robes represent. Where did they come from? So, okay. And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Well, that's contradictory, right? How do you make your robe white, but it's bathed in the blood of the Lamb? Okay. Therefore are they before the throne of God and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. So their gift is to stand before this God and to have the privilege of giving praise to this God for eternity. That's their gift for bathing in the blood of the Lamb. So, in other words, for accepting Jesus, their gift would be to be a servant, to stand in the presence of this God and to give praise to him all day for eternity. I mean, okay, so that's a gift. That sounds like a man who needs his ego lifted up. That sounds like a man who needs an ego boost, and a big one at that, where you have all of these people who are supposed to stand here for the rest of eternity and give you praise. That doesn't sound, that many of you know that these are not the words of the Most High, okay? Some people are still lost in the sauce. But let's just keep going. Um, yeah. So therefore are they before the throne of God and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. So in other words, they ain't never leaving. They ain't never going outside. The sun will never see them. They will never see the sun. Where the heck are they at? But they won't be thirsty and they won't be hungry anymore. So the gift is that they get shelter, they get food, they get something to drink, and they also get to praise this God for eternity. But they never get to leave because they will never see the light of day. They will never see the sun. How do you thrive? Let's just, okay. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them. Oh gosh. So they saying the lamb is going to feed them. What, they gonna eat the lamb? Because the lamb is supposed to represent Jesus. So what I'm seeing here is this is showing a strong depiction of what they call communion, where they're eating and drinking, right? Because it says they will never thirst, they will never hunger. And they are supposed to feed, well, it says, for the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them unto living fountains of water. And God shall wipe away all their tears from their eyes. They have let me see, it's guiding me to ESA. I think that stands for Ecclesiastics, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Okay, so apparently ESA stands for Isaiah. So it says, they shall not hunger or thirst, nor heat nor sun shall strike them. For he who has mercy on them will lead them. Even by the springs of the water, he will guide them. So that was being referenced next to this passage in Revelations. So the sun The heat or the sun shall not strike them. Who is concerned, or who feels that the sun is harmful? You see what I'm saying? To where you would never see the sun again, and that's a reward? What, for who? Who is that a reward for? Does anybody know the answer to that? I mean, I think I know the answer, but neither heat nor sun shall strike them. It's almost as if it's painful. It's dreadful or something like that. But what, okay, so this is part of the promise to these people, that they will never see the light of day again. The sun will never touch them again. Okay. So then let's move on. So now we're moving on to chapter 8, verse 1. So this is describing it as the opening of the seal. 7 angels had 7 trumpets given them. 4 of them sounded their trumpets, and great plagues follow. Another angel putteth incense to the prayers of the saints of the golden altar. Okay, so chapter 8, verse 1. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the span of a half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel, now remember, earlier we was talking about the 7 churches, which are the 7 churches of Asia, Eurasia, apparently, because all 7 churches were located in Turkey. And we found that it was talking about the 7 churches and the 7 candlesticks and the 7 stars. Okay, 7 churches, 7 candlesticks, 7 stars. And again, it all references political parties. So now we're talking about 7 seals and 7 trumpets and 7 angels. Okay, and so I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a gold censer, and there was given unto him much incense. So we have an altar here. Okay, so obviously there's a ritual taking place, right? So there's an altar, there's the candlesticks, there's the incense. Okay. That he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. So this altar was gold. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hands. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. So yeah, it's like they're making it seem as if they're high up in heaven, and these angels are casting out these incense, and once it hits the earth, it's going up in smoke and causing all of these fires. So and the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. And the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. So this first angel they sounded the trumpet, and there was a lot of hail and fire with blood cast upon the earth, burning up all third part of the trees and all green grass. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Okay. And the third part of the creatures that were in the sea had had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. So now this other angel's trumpet is supposed to destroy the sea. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning with a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and the fountains of waters. Okay. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. Now, this is what I found interesting because I was actually drawn to this term wormwood. They named this particular star wormwood. Now, like I said, the stars would represent the leaders, the political leaders, okay? And so I was like, well, who would this be attached to with this wormwood? So I looked up wormwood. What I was tapping into was any names that are like surnames that are directly connected to wormwood. And the surname that I got was Apsley. Now, apparently, Apsley is a museum that's the former home of Duke of Wellington, located in London, UK. Okay. So Apsley is the surname for wormwood. And it took me to a particular place, which is now a museum, but it used to be the house that belonged to the Duke of Wellington in London, UK. So this could strongly indicate that there is, because the star would represent the leader, it could represent the fall of the leadership in London. So Apsley means wormwood and is directly connected to the Duke of Wellington. I think I said Ellington at first, the Duke of Wellington. So this Apsley house is located out in London and is currently a museum today. But it used to be the house of the Duke of Wellington, they are connected to the so-called royal family out there by way of marriage. Okay. So either way, there's strong ties there, which I feel for this to reference wormwood and the star. Let me see. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. So, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as if it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of the waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. Okay. So the star that fell, remember, the stars are the people that are in position of leadership, right? Because when we was talking about the 7 candlesticks and the 7 stars, the candlesticks would represent the political party and the star would be the leader of that party, like the so-called angel, the messenger of that party. So it definitely feels like when it's talking about the angels and the stars that fall, the stars would represent people who are in a position of power and authority. It's the fall of their empire is what it represents. Okay. So for it to reference wormwood, and wormwood is directly connected to London, it's in London because it's the house of Apsley, which is the house of the Duke of Wellington. All of that comes together to make sense, to show that just from this particular verse alone, it shows you that the ones that came before that, when it speaks on stars falling, is talking about people who are in a position of power and authority. Okay, the falling stars here. So, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened. And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Okay, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels were not, which are not yet to sound. So we're moving on to chapter 9. At the sounding of the fifth angel, so this is just a footnote here. At the sounding of the fifth angel, a star falleth from heaven, to whom is given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the pit, and there come forth locusts like scorpions. The first woe passed, the sixth trumpet sounded, 4 angels are let loose that were bound. Okay. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. So this is another person in position of authority who had a key to the underworld. I really do feel like this is dealing with the underworld, which is the whole cities that's all throughout the earth that's underground, right up underneath our feet. So this will be someone who has the authority, the head of this underworld. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose smoke out of the pit, and smoke as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. So now you know that it's not literal when it says that the sun, because previously it said that the sun, the third part of the sun was smitten, the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. Is not literal. It's not literally the sun that we look at, the moon that we look at, the stars that we look at are being smitten, meaning destroyed. Because when we go further down after that, it speaks on the smoke that came from the furnace of this underworld, the bottomless pit, would go up into the air and it would block the sunlight, right? It would be that much smoke. So the sun still exists after the previous verse that spoke on the third part of the sun being smitten or destroyed. So that's how you know it's not literal. So, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So we're going back to this seal. And now it's saying in the forehead specifically. When I'm looking at a seal in the forehead, it's like saying you have been sealed. You are owned. The ownership has been established through your mind, through your thoughts. So the way that you think, the way that you speak, the way that you react and respond is all in alignment with the agenda of this particular God. So that seal would be a representation of saying these are the ones that adhere to this particular belief. And to them that it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion, which he striketh a man. So hold up. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So they're saying to torment them for at least a good 5 months. So don't kill them, but torment them for 5 months. So in other words, I just got a totally different message. 5 months could be 500 years, okay? Torment them for 5 months, 500 years. But let me see. That, okay, torment was as the torment of a scorpion, which he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. So this is the trumpet that's being blown to torture those who have not received the seal in their foreheads for 5 months, pretty much strong arming people to take this particular seal or to believe a particular way or to think a particular way. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. Horses, crowns, faces of men. To me, it sounds like war. So this particular depiction is associated with heraldic or noble imagery, which deals with the coat of arms and family crest. Horses and crowns are often used as symbols of nobility, strength, and royalty. A horse with a crown might represent a noble lineage or a royal family. So this is giving more reference to the so-called royal family out in London. Okay. What's interesting about this text, the way that I'm reading it is it's almost like a merging of things that have already taken place and things that are currently happening based on what they anticipated their final ending would look like. Okay, because make no mistake, these 7 angels with the 7 trumpets are representing 7 nations or 7 high ranking leaders of the underworld, where the trumpet that's being blown would represent their rebellion, or it could also represent the alarm, because a trumpet is an alarm. It's like to notify the coming of something or someone. So it could also be the revealing, the exposure of these particular beings, because the falling stars would represent the empire falling. So I'm feeling like this has all happened over the span of the last few hundred years. This is not like, okay, well, now Revelation begins. The prophecy of Revelation begins now, and we watch it unfold from the beginning of Revelations through to the end of Revelations. And okay, from, let's just say, if we started from the beginning of 2020, now that would be Revelations chapter 1. And then proceeding from this point forward, we move all the way up until the end of Revelations. No, this definitely feels like a clumping of things, like a merging of historical events that have already taken place and some that are currently taking place. Okay, like before in the message number 3 that I did, video 3, it spoke about the solar eclipse, the blood moon, and the earthquakes. So these are historical events that have recently taken place from 2020. Actually, that was around 2022. It was showing up until now. But when it comes to other things like tormenting people until the seal was placed on their foreheads, I'm really feeling like the 5 months represents 500 years, like the time of enslavement of the melanated man, woman, and child. But let me just see. So let's keep going. So it's talking about these, the royal, let me see. I want to make sure that I have this right. So we're talking about the, sorry everybody, my battery went dead.
So I will be resuming this message when the time calls. I hope that this brought you some clarity for these particular scriptures. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to y'all next time.